Yeah.
But then we got chased down the street, me, my brother, and my sister. And that's when people started using the N-word and other stuff, throwing stones at us, not wanting us to be there. And that's when I was kind of like, okay, wow. Yeah, people don't like me. And it's not they don't like me because they don't know me. They don't like me because of my skin color. I finished 6th year and thought, right, I'm taking a gap year. My mom was very, very against it. As an African parent, she was like, what do you mean a gap year? What are you going to do? A gap year? You want to go and sit down and enjoy your life? Oh, there's no time to enjoy your life. Actually, the life in Zambia is easy. You know, you can have little and still feel complete.
Welcome back everyone to Nor Speaks Out. As you know, this channel is all about African history and diaspora stories. I'm Nor, of course, and today I am interviewing Stephen. He's going to tell us a little bit about his story of moving from Zambia and coming to the UK. So, Stephen, if you could just give us a little introduction, please tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us where you were born and raised, please.
My name is Stephen Smonde. I was born in a small town, in a mining town called Ndola, which is in the Copper Belt in Zambia. And I grew up in the capital city, Lusaka, on our farm. I was there until I was 6 years old, and then from there I moved to the UK and started off living in a small town called Chepstow. And then from Chepstow, then went to London, then from London, Kirkcaldy, then Edinburgh.
Yep, so nice moving around quite a bit of these British Isles. Tell us a little bit about just life in Lusaka before you moved. What was your childhood like?
My childhood was very, very enjoyable. We lived on a farm in Lusaka West, which is roughly, I'd probably say maybe about 45 minutes to an hour away from the capital city, from town centre. And my childhood was very much carefree. There's no such thing as sitting down, playing on your computer or watching TV or anything else like that. TV was scheduled, so our national TV stations at NBC basically had certain times when it will come on. So if it wasn't on, then you'd have to entertain yourself. So one of the great things I loved to do was climb on mango trees, pick up a mango, enjoy that. Guavas, climb the guava tree, enjoy that. Play football. Really thought I was going to be the next, let me think of something good. Messi.
Okay.
Yep, that never happened. But it was very carefree, very outdoorsy. Never wanted to spend any time indoors. Always wanted to be outdoors. Always wanted to be running. Just enjoying life outdoors. So it was very, very enjoyable. Very, very enjoyable.
Nice. Okay, so that's 6 years. Living this kind of country suburb life in Lusaka, and then coming over to Wales. What was the reason your parents wanted to come?
My dad was a plastic surgeon. My mum was a nurse. My dad got a scholarship to come to the UK, and I remember him speaking to us saying, I'm going to go to the UK first, and then after that I'll bring you guys along. We were all like, yes, we're going to the UK. When you back then in Africa, well, in Zambia anyway, when you're telling your friends, I'm going to the UK, everybody's like, wow, you've made it, like you are just super rich and you're just going to the UK. That's a lie. But I'm very grateful to my parents. They gave me a great opportunity, and my mum still reminds me to this day about the opportunity that she gave me, and how hard she had to work to get us here. So it's a blessing, definitely, to come across. But the main reason was my dad got a scholarship, and that's the reason why we came.
Okay. So now Dad's got a scholarship. We're in Wales.
Yes. In a small town called Chepstow, which is, I think it's like 30 minutes away from Cardiff.
Okay. So how was Chepstow life? How long were you there? Just give us sort of maybe even like your first impressions of the UK in Wales.
Chepstow was great, you know. I don't know if anybody's been to Wales, but Wales is actually a really beautiful country. And if you get the chance, go to Wales. The people are lovely as well. But Chepstow was fantastic. One of the first things I remember, especially when going to primary school, was I was the only black kid there. So at first you're just like, wow, the only one. There's only me. And I remember, you know, I remember specifically our teacher kind of going saying, "Oh, do you want to go and explain, you know, just why you're here and stuff like that?" So, you know, I was like, "Oh, my dad's a plastic surgeon, and we've come all the way from Zambia." And I spent a whole day explaining to my class, like from birth up until the age of 6, of why we made it all the way to the UK. And I'm sure they were like, "Wow, this guy's a storyteller." But basically, that was my childhood was great. I was good at running, so I used to run a lot. And yeah, I didn't think anything bad about living in Chepstow. I just thought, this is great. And where we were, it was farming land as well, so it wasn't anything that I wasn't not used to.
Okay. In terms of your reception from people, so yes, it was easy in the sense that it was similar to the countryside life that you're used to, but the reception as well from people in Wales.
I mean, honestly, it was brilliant. I think to this day, my mum still has the same friends that we had when we were there. We had this family who were lovely. They gifted us a car. And so we had a car that we were able to travel about in because of this family. So honestly, blessing.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Right, Chepstow, I'm coming for you. Okay. My goodness. Beautiful. Okay. So Chepstow, you're there for about a year or so?
I'll probably say we were there maybe a year to 6-7 months. Okay. And then left there to then go to London, where we stayed with my aunt. She was the secretary to the High Commissioner, so she had this big huge house in Hampstead, and we went and stayed there for a bit, which was great. I enjoyed it. I think more just the difference between London and a small town in Wales. London just seemed huge and just seemed like full of life, and everybody running around, always busy. And the other thing I remember very clearly, there were more black people in London than they were in Chepstow. So.
And then from London, so we're like early 90s.
Yeah. From London, we went to Kirkcaldy. My dad got a job in a teaching hospital. I mean, in the hospital there. And
just out in Scotland.
Yeah, in Kirkcaldy.
Yeah. And is that distance from Kirkcaldy and Edinburgh?
Oh, it's like about an hour.
Okay.
It's basically just on the other side of the bridge. So yeah, we lived in Kirkcaldy. That was definitely a different experience. I can't say I liked it, but I can't say that I didn't like it, if that makes sense. When we moved to Kirkcaldy, I was like, right, okay, this is Kirkcaldy, this is Scotland. At that time, Kirkcaldy was just a small town. It wasn't as big as it is now. But, you know, first day of primary school, we had kids coming up, like, trying to lick us because they thought we were chocolate. So in your head, you just think they just like you because, you know, of your skin color, but you don't realize that that's actually a form of racism. And it wasn't until my sister came up, she was like, "What? Like, get off them." And you just like your mind is slightly a bit warped because you just think these people like you, but in actual fact, they're mocking your skin. And then you leave Chepstow. You leave school, you go home. You kind of you don't want to go and explain to your parents because, you know, your parents are working really hard to keep you in this country and everything else, and you don't want to be an issue, so you don't really talk about it. But we did get chased down the street, and probably that was I can say that people licking me, I'm thinking chocolate, yeah, that was bad, but in my head at the time, I didn't think it was bad or anything else.
Yeah.
But then we got chased down the street, me, my brother, and my sister. And that's when people started using the N-word and other stuff, throwing stones at us, not wanting us to be there. And that's when I was kind of like, okay, wow, yeah, people don't like me. And it's not they don't like me because they don't know me. They don't like me because of my skin color. And that was my first proper experience of what racism was like in this country. And it wasn't nice, I probably think.
Did that happen like on multiple occasions?
It didn't happen on multiple occasions. It happened, I'd probably say twice. The first time it happened, I feel lucky. I could run then. And I remember me, my sister, my brother, we were sprinting for our lives just to get home. And they couldn't catch up with us. And because they couldn't catch up with us, you were just like, well, if you can't get me, you can't get me.
What did you do to cope with that?
I can't really say much for my sister. I'd actually have to go and call her up to go and ask her. But I don't think she really had any issues. I had a really good friend in high school, in primary school, a guy called John Deegan. And we always used to go around to his place. And I think because I had a friend who was white and liked me, it didn't make my experience seem so ugh.
Okay.
So one thing I remember, I could go to school and I had friends. So it wasn't just, there's a group of people who don't like me, but actually there's another group who actually do like me, and I spend time with them, and we hang out, and it's okay. So it's very hard to kind of go and say, did I cope? Yeah, very easily, because I had friends. Did I find it hard? More so, I found it more like, well, as long as I can keep running, he's never going to go and catch me. And I know that seems like such a naive way of thinking, but I was a kid at the time, so it didn't really affect me in that kind of sense of, all right, this guy's going to go and do something really nasty to me.
How old are we now in Kirkcaldy now? Just
7, 8. Basically, then kind of moved to Edinburgh. My dad got an opportunity to go and study at Surgeons Hall. So he had been trying to do, I don't know if it's his master's or his PhD, whatever he was trying to do. Well, he was trying to be a professor actually in something. Don't quote me, sorry. But yeah, he was trying really hard. He actually wanted to go and try and publish a book. So he spent a lot of time like drawing diagrams and trying to publish stuff and do stuff, and was sitting exams and whatever. He was a very bright guy.
Yeah.
But he got an opportunity to come to Edinburgh, and so he was like, right, capital city, better opportunity, better experience. We're gonna move to Edinburgh. So we moved from Kirkcaldy to Edinburgh, and I spent most of, if not all, my life in Edinburgh.
And so, how was that now? Edinburgh, primary, secondary school. Kind of walk us through sort of life.
Primary school, to the most, was brilliant. I was lucky enough that my primary school had other black kids going to it as well. So experience-wise, I was like, wow, I'm definitely not the only black person. Brilliant. This is going to work out brilliantly for me. But Edinburgh is one of those cities where it's actually really quite multicultural. Yeah. So there are a lot more people, like you wouldn't just find black people, you'd find black, Asians, just everybody all in the same place, and everybody just has to get on. And that was really good. I loved my primary school. Other primary schools weren't so good. I played football for my primary school, and I thought everybody, because the way my primary school was, it was loving, it was great. All the teachers liked me, I liked them, it was good. But what you realize is, like Kirkcaldy, there are areas where people don't like you. Yeah. So I remember we played one team in a tournament, and somebody went and shouted out, "Get away, you black bee." And I was like, what? And the ref looked, sent him off. Everybody started kicking off. I didn't really say anything, but I think I was more in shock than anything else, because it hadn't got to that extent, especially my primary school life. in Edinburgh. Nothing like that had ever happened. So my teammates came around, they were like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And they were just excited because another guy had been sent off, but didn't really understand to the extent of what had actually really happened.
Yeah.
So, you're now playing, and I remember we won the football tournament, whatever, and you come back to school and everybody's really happy. They're absolutely ecstatic, but they don't, as a kid, you're still not going, "Oh, well, somebody was really racist to you." You don't process it to the full extent of going, "Wow, that was actually really bad. People don't like you." But for the most part, my primary school life was really, really good.
Okay. So
I definitely feel that I can say this now, looking back. Yeah, I had a good childhood, but I didn't feel like I had a childhood.
So you had to grow up fast.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. You're always mindful. You're always mindful. You're just like, this is my box. I live in that box, and that's it. Okay. I don't know if I said, like, I was the first black prefect in my primary school, and I was the first black prefect in high school, and I was so proud of that. But again, there's a standard, and I think our parents push us to want to be the best that we can be. I think sometimes African parents maybe overdo it, but then again, we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for them. So it's a kind of circle, that you kind of go. But racism wise, I didn't really experience much in high school. We called it the African Center. So all the parents of all the same kids all went to the African Center, and they organized like barbecues and tournaments and stuff. So that was our community. We all knew each other. There was a period maybe when I'd probably say 13, 14, where I left and went to Africa to go and spend time with my dad, because my mom and dad separated. So I actually spent, I'll probably say about a year and a half with my dad. That was another different experience from the one that I had in the UK.
Tell us more, come on.
But yeah, like I got picked up. I had a chauffeur to drive me to school and back. Epic. Your
best life.
Yeah, we had servants as well. So it was I never made my bed, had food cooked for me. It was a massive change and difference in life. I didn't have to do chores per se. But
were you like in any way like ostracized then in Zambia?
No. So basically, everybody knows in Africa you're either what's considered, there's no like middle class in Zambia, so you're either top end or bottom end.
Okay.
I was lucky, my dad was a doctor, he was head of a department, so I was top end, so my dad could afford to give me luxuries that a lot of other people couldn't get. He could afford to send me to a good international school where some kids couldn't really do that. And there's a massive difference in schooling and learning and everything else. So if I went to an international school, I would find other kids who were just like me. So you hung around with kids who are just like you. Okay,
so on that top end.
Yeah.
So you're back now. In the UK, in Edinburgh, after spending about a year and a half in Zambia. So just tell us how old were you when you came back to Edinburgh, and then what was going on for you here?
When we came back, I was probably about 15. Yeah, so about 15, 16. And it was probably I'd say it was a tough coming back. Life in Africa is so amazing. When you are, I wouldn't call it the 1%, but when you're doing better than average. So if you're doing better than average, you have servants, you have a driver who takes you to school, you just think life is Gucci. And then you come back and you kind of have to rewire your brain again, going, right, okay, so I don't have those nice little bits of luxury, but standard of living is better. So we came back, school was a little bit tough. I'll probably say for the first year, just because, especially in the UK, if you've missed a bit, and then you're having to, you're almost playing a bit of catch up. So my mum and dad actually kind of said, if I wanted to go and to go back a year just so I can get back into the swing of things, I refused, because I was like, yo, I don't need to do that. I'm old enough. I can handle all this. In hindsight, looking back now, maybe I should have taken the year. But you can't stop a genius. You just got to learn. No. It just... I wouldn't say I was... like, I thought I knew better as a child. So I just, I didn't want to be that kid who was in the class and say I was 16, but everybody else was younger than me. And then you start thinking, oh, you know what? I'm too dumb to just be in the same year. So I've always been a person who's always going to go and push myself. So I pushed myself. I finished 6th year and thought, right, I'm taking a gap year. My mom was very, very against it. As an African parent, she's like, what do you mean a gap year? What are you going to do? A gap year? You want to go and sit down and enjoy your life? Oh, there's no time to enjoy your life. And I was like, right, okay, so gap year, I'm going to earn money, okay? I can buy whatever I want, and I'm going to enjoy it, and then I'll go and study. What actually happened is, so I worked for Scottish Provident for like 5 years.
Hold on, did you not say it was a gap year?
Yeah. Like I said, it was a very long extended gap year, but it was a great long extended gap year. I worked for Scottish Provident either 3 or 5 years, and that was great. That was great. I was earning real money.
Okay.
Had to wear trousers and smart shoes, and I had all these smart shoes from Ravel, so I was just going through them. And it was great.
Okay.
Really, really enjoyed it. I guess experience teaches you quite a lot. But after that, I was made redundant again. Because they decided to close their Edinburgh branch, and so you had the choice of either moving to Glasgow or staying in Edinburgh. I decided to stay in Edinburgh. I'm not a huge fan of commuting, and so I was like, no, I'm not going to Glasgow. And I'm such an Edinburgh boy. If you ask my wife, I'm an Edinburgh boy through and through. So I stayed in Edinburgh. Had this great redundancy pay. I was like, oh, I'm minted. I'm a eat out, get fat, and life is Gucci. And then I then got another job working for.
Sorry. Yeah. So this is year what of the year?
Right. Yeah.
Sorry. Just so
this is probably like year 5-ish.
Okay.
It was great. It was great. I'll tell you, it was great.
Not for mommy, but yes. Yeah. So year 5 of the gap year.
My mom was just happy that at least I had a job. So
and you're earning money.
And I'm earning money. Yeah. So she was just okay. But my younger brother, he's the one who went to uni, and then she was like, see, look at your brother. He's intelligent. Then I left that and got another job working actually for the Bank of Scotland in corporate banking. So I was there for like 5 years. And that was interesting. I think just when you're black and you're in, like, say, the corporate environment, and you're looking around, you're maybe like one of one or maybe one of two. I think at the time it must have been only like 2 black people in our whole entire office. So that was really quite interesting. It's black people understand this, but it's good when you've got other black people around you, because it helps you kind of become yourself and you can live life and enjoy it. But all my friends around me were white. I was pretty much in this kind of corporate world of whiteness, and that was it. And it felt quite alone sometimes.
Was it that different? I'm assuming things were the same when you were with the Scottish Providence and with Ravel.
Ravel. Ravel. I literally was the only black person. In Scottish Providence, I didn't hear black people. No, that was just me. So that was quite interesting. I think, just off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody else.
Did it feel the same? Like, as in, did you feel uncomfortable? Did you feel sort of ostracized?
I didn't feel ostracized. I definitely felt like, for example, in the bank, I remember I did this ad. So they asked me to go and help do an ad for corporate banking. And and the reason why they used me is because I was literally the only black person there at the time. So it helped to kind of go and do that.
Okay. For their image or...
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if you're trying to help entice more people and they see a black person, it helps. But yeah, it was, working for corporate banking was great. I enjoyed working for corporate banking. I've still got friends there, and it was awesome, really, really good. But after that, after the kind of 5-year period, I kind of left it, and I was like, oh, right, I want to do something different. And what that something different, I didn't really know. I spent a lot of time trying to think of what I was going to do, and I decided I'm going to go and learn. And I wanted to learn just about business and about business management. And so I thought, oh, you know what? That sounds like a really good thing. And my mum would always say, you're really good with business, so why don't you go and do that? So basically, I went back and I did a year of accountancy and then went to uni and finished with accountancy.
Okay.
I did this other side hustle of being a film extra. So...
That's really random.
Yeah, I know.
Just a little bit.
A lot of people are like, sorry, what? So I had the side hustle of being a film extra, and I got a really great opportunity to work on a TV show for 6 months. And it was probably the best 6 months of my whole entire life.
Yeah, can you tell us what TV show?
It was Good Omens season 2.
Okay.
So I basically filmed the whole of Good Omens season 2. I was on set every single day for like 6 months. It was the best 6 months of my life. And it helped not just me, but it helped my mom.
Yeah.
And it gave me a way to still be at home to help look after my mom and still make money.
Yeah.
So yeah.
An outlet for you as well.
Oh, it's just sometimes you're given blessings, and this was like probably the biggest blessing of my life. So after the 6 months, I basically did like a TV show, a movie, another TV show, a movie, and just before we got married, that's when I stopped. So I was busy for like roughly a whole year.
Okay.
And yeah, it was good. My trainer collection increased. Bossing.
Well,
yeah.
What advice would you give for anyone from Zambia thinking, whether a young person, an adult, thinking of moving, coming to the UK or Scotland? What advice would you give to those people who say, yes, come? And then if you could say why, or if you think no.
I think any experience, anywhere you're going to go, whether it's Scotland, England, China, whatever, like any experience that you're going to go get is great because it gives you life experience and it's good. But I will say that don't have the idea that you're going to become the next influencer or whatever. I think a lot of people think, all right, things are bad in Africa, let me go to the UK and it's going to be a lot easier, but actually you've got to work really hard here, just as you have to work really hard in Africa. So don't have the attitude that it's just going to fall into place.
Okay.
If you've got a mindset of wanting to work hard and you want to, whatever field it is, you'll do well. You just have to work hard for it. Everything in life.
Okay.
You have to work hard.
Okay.
I'd say you have to have the mentality that you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to... my mom used to always say that just because you are black, so you're going to have to keep working hard. And I think you still have to kind of have that mentality, unfortunately.
Yeah. What about, especially I think with some of the things you spoke about when you were a child, and when you moved to Wales and then came up to Scotland, what advice would you give for parents? So people from Zambia, from Africa, coming with children, what advice would you give them, especially considering kind of like some of the things that you experienced as a young person?
I'd say when I was growing up, it was very, very different to what it is now. So when I was growing up, primary school, high school, I might have been the only black kid in school. Whereas now, like, I think obviously, there are a lot more ethnic people about, and that makes a huge, massive difference. But for me personally, if a family's coming over, bring them young, you know, because it helps them easier to go and settle down. And you can get used to the culture a lot quicker than if you're a teenager. You've already got your views and your points already set, which can it's the kind of thing, like, you know, if you've yes, teaching wise it'll be better, teaching wise is a hardcore when you're in Africa than it is over here, but the culture shock, that's a whole different thing, because you now really having to take not all your Africanness out, but be different. And that difference can sometimes, you know, make you feel like, oh, well, I'm different, you know, instead of, okay, I'm different in a good way.
Okay, so do you think it's like, I guess, about belonging?
Yeah, I don't think you have to, you don't have to give up all of yourself, but you have, because you're taking a whole new culture in, a whole new way of dressing, a whole new style. Like, your eating is different, you know. You're not going to be sitting down eating fufu and shima all the time. You're going to be eating rice and potatoes, which are a lot easier, more accessible to go get over here than it could be back home. So yeah, that's a massive culture shock and a massive different way of living. It doesn't mean that your life is going to be any worse or any better. It's just you have to adapt. So it's easier as a child.
Last question. Before we finish off, what do you miss? Would you go back and live in Zambia? And then also, what do you miss most about home?
Would I go and live back in Zambia in a heartbeat if I could get the same Wi-Fi? I could it's not like I'd miss my friends. Yes, I miss a few things, but actually, the life in Zambia is easy. You know, you can have little and still feel complete. You can have a lot and still feel complete. But I think the sense of having family around you and how family help each other, and it's like a community of, right, we're all in this together, not you're in this by yourself. The idea of being happy just with whatever you've got and getting on with it, like, life seems so much more easier to manage than, I think, the Western culture of it's going to happen right now. If you know, and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen in Africa. I just think we're a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more happy in life. Okay. So yeah, I'd go and build my house and look out every day and go, this is my kingdom. Okay. But yeah. Maybe
in the future.
Oh, fact. Yeah. Okay. If what I miss my family. I miss my cousins and I miss the food.
Okay. Family and food, FNF. Oh, well, thank you so much for
no problem at all.
Sharing your story, for sharing your history with us, and for coming on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions for Stephen, please message, let me know, and we'll see if we can answer those as soon as we can. So this is NorSpeaksOut, as you know, but Stephen has spoken on this episode, and so we're asking you, Wahura.
Wahura.
Not bad. Which means, are you listening?
Are you listening?
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.